Welcome to Spa. Well, I thought I'm just gonna be doing the Imola event, but then I decided, well, why not do one more Spa with the same car? Because I have done it with Ferrari some days ago, and it was a fun race. Please do in hypercar. Maybe next time. on Sunday I'm thinking of hypercar, but I kind of like this GT freeze for now. As I forgot to set this mic stuff so I can hear myself better. Where are you? There you go. It's funny how I cannot get like a sound loop working so I can hear myself speaking through the mic unless I open settings. Windows settings, just open them and then it works like this one. This works like then I can hear myself talking, otherwise I cannot. I don't know. Maybe I'm gonna find one day a more, well, OBS professional way to do it. Either way, let's reset FFB. There you go. And let's do outlap on a very cold tire, which is gonna be a great practice. Yeah, we have some nice drivers today here. Feels like RF2 Esports with Erhan Jajowski from 5 years ago. We have Michel as well and Zwirs. I forgot to make those manufacturer logos work. They worked yesterday or last stream, 2 days ago. They worked in one race, but not in other. Anyway, well, I hope Erhan and Marcel stay forever with Rennsport, so they don't make me have more gray hair than what I need. But yeah, it would be great to have LMVS going on, of course, and that would mean both Erhan and Marcel driving in LMU. This cold tire is quite pronounced, a bit more than it was before, I think. I don't know, the more I drive cold tires, the more it feels like that it's brilliant, it's fantastic, but there is just something that's not yet fine-tuned properly, because like I think in some cases with GT Freeze it just snaps the rear for no reason in a weird way. Like it doesn't grip and then snap like it would in real life, but it just always kind of slides a bit. Anyway, 7 minutes, that means I don't know how many laps, 4 laps. I guess that's enough fuel. And let's hope we are fast enough. They warm up too fast, yeah, potentially. I mean, not sure, you know, like the temperatures are just rising normally, but the grip arrives very quickly. Would have to ask real-life drivers. I mean, I think they have asked the real-life drivers and made the cold tires according to their feedback. Although I heard that sometimes it's in real life just impossible to make tires go into the correct window. You just have to work them so hard. But here, eventually you'll always be in a good window. These fixed setups are a bit weird as well. Feels like, I mean, with LMGT3 rules, speeds are lower, so it actually feels a bit more like touring car. Going like 250 on the straight, and then having a lot of pump power understeer and a lot of entry oversteer. Just about not gripping enough. I need to fix my TC. Power cut 1 and a bit less ABS. Maybe 5. Feels like ABS on McLaren can be very low for some reason. Talking to Johnny Edgar, oh my old teammate from LMVS, well from the sister car. I think it was him driving one of the races with one well. All tires are still nothing compared to in real life. Yeah, I don't know, it feels so weird. From timing and from feeling wise. Joao, I have done, well, a bit of setup work for Imola, just to make it drivable. I took my Interlagos setup that I was unfortunately unable to use on the fateful Tuesday because of the bug. Then I tried max wing, min wing, medium wing, and everything was same fast, so I'm gonna ride like medium downforce today for Imola. Let's see how it goes. Purple sector 1 for now. Slightly too sideways. I have RF2 McLaren PTSD into Pujon. I just turn in and I just expect the rear to fully float off track and make a big snap. And it kind of does, but it's a lot more solid than in RF2. No rotation. This corner is not even flat out. Maybe next lap when tires are actually 80° plus. High snapped by Dan, hi Luca. Let's throw a saving part here, what? Oh, that 5th gear is like 1 kph too short. I prefer McLaren compared to Ferrari at Spa. For some reason. Oh, that was a messy turn 1. It's actually only 2 attempts, right? I keep forgetting. Seven tenths off P1 for now, though. just about flat out now. Not enough for P1 even. Oof. Erhan 7th and 6. I don't know. I'm gonna say they have all practiced and I didn't. I don't know. I had a messy sector 1. And then I kind of just about survived through the lap. Okay. Is Erhan still... Yeah, he... I guess if you really push the outlap, you can get 2 attempts. Although no, that's gonna reset him now, right? DQ. Yule. Yeah, 2 days ago I got a penalty because I removed too much virtual energy. So I ran out of it in the main straight before the finish line. That was terrible. So what did I want to do now? 1:38-ish. Yeah, 9 laps. .9. 35 is fine. 36. So we are P4. That's alright. What is not alright is the gap to Erhan. A very fast guy. And he will disappear into the distance if I'm not attacking him into lap 1 Lecombe already. Ooh, Michael has kind of messed up, I see. I really wonder what this wet bug there. I guess the tires default to wets before other people click start driving and then they are correct. Okay. TC1, ABS 5, that was fine. I think brake bias should go a bit to the rear. I would have liked a bit more rotation into turn 1, but a bit less rotation in higher speed entries. All right. Can we somehow beat Jajowski? Probably not, but let's see. I hope you guys appreciate my extra attempt to make my steering wheel colors a bit more in line with the McLaren livery. Not sure if it's the correct tone of orange, but it's about there. That's such a spot turn 1 exit moment. Back into P4. Ooh, that speed and power. Who was that? Poor guy. I guess that was TC0 for him. Even TC cut 1 can save you from that. He watched too much of Michi Hoer and went onto the TC override. I mean, I don't know, I kind of got lucky to some extent. I mean, I could have gone way more lucky if that other guy didn't spin across me, but I couldn't do anything else but smash the brake pedal, and it was just about working to avoid the bonk. Seconds to Erhan already. That's gonna be difficult. So let's see Ferrari versus McLaren. Who has got a better fixed setup? Track limits. The toe is quite strong, isn't it? Well, for the time being, GG Erhan, nice win. I mean, he would have been driving away even if I was in clean air and P2 behind him, most likely. Potentially the Ferrari is having a bit more downforce. I gained so much on the braking. So 3/10 gap, is that enough? more than enough. Oi. That was a bit optimistic from the guy. Yeah, when I said that it's more than enough, I got a bit worried that I'm gonna get proven wrong after the Ferrari outbraking me around the outside, but it was still enough to get a switchback. The front just about gripped enough on the exit of Lecombe, so I could stay flat out. Then a lap time battle in the end. 6.3 over the line to Erhan. He's got the McLaren, so I cannot get the BOP excuse if I'm slow. Michelle, how do I like the new tire model? It's really good, but it's a bit it allows a little bit too much of slip angle. So it kind of feels somewhat, I mean, it's difficult to judge, right? Because real-life cars allow quite some slip angle, and then simulators like ACC and iRacing or the old AC don't allow it at all, or allow very little of it, and then the old RF2 tires allowed twice as much as real life, so it's hard to judge what is realistic, because again we are not doing like 200 speeds here, so we only have one medium compound. And not too much downforce. So always you will be able to kind of move the car around, but there are some... Maybe the fronts should... the rears should stick longer, like I think the rear slips a little bit too much without getting forced to slip, and then it kind of likes to keep that little slide. But it's within small margins, so I wouldn't call it a big issue. At least not as big issue as iRacing has on that Ferrari hypercar. That one is... Did you guys see the Hino hot lap video? Real life Ferrari lap at Spa versus iRacing lap. Exactly same quick, just that in iRacing the track was wet. That was quite hilarious to watch. It's kind of nice, right? Like they both released the update on the same day, iRacing and LMU. Meanwhile I'm like second of pace of Yayowski. RIP. They both released on the same day and both have their own share of issues. But then iRacing Ferrari goes like 8 seconds too fast. And then, yeah, it's a funny situation. struggling with this throttle understeer. Well, I struggled with that in RF2 on non-oversteer setups and on the previous LME tires as well. Yeah, Michelle, the Corvette is very, very tricky. I think BMW is by far the most pleasant car to drive for the general public, I would think, for me as well. Corvette, I think it has huge amount of dive, so when you brake, the front dives or like the rear goes into the air and it creates like a huge balance change, and it's less so on other cars. And BMW with engine on the front is driving very differently. And now I'm enjoying the BMW the most, but well, for today I'm going with the McLaren. Still kind of trying to evaluate the difference in the driving between RF2 GT3 McLaren, which I'm driving in the Virtual Endurance Championship. I think I'm getting a bit killed by ABS. Not sure what settings Erhan drives. I need to do at least 118, even if it's 18.9, otherwise I will feel like a noob compared to Erhan. What rig do I have? Well, it's the Alu Profile rig, it's a Simplexity V8. It's probably not the most known of the rigs. Basically company of my teammate Jesper. Hi Simbego. Yeah, the ABS really depends on how much you squeeze it. If you go, the biggest problem is if you're out braking yourself, you go too deep into a corner and then stay on the brake pedal without reducing it enough while starting to turn in, it will really kill you and you will really feel it. And you will just go straight while the steering will be like this, oscillating. I mean, it's a big difference between the driving of BMW and of other rear-engine cars. Well, for me personally, I have grown up racing F1 cars, like F1 Challenge and then RF2. I mean, RF1 and RF2, and mostly just driving Formula Sim racing, which always run F1 style cars. So I kind of like to have the rear stuck to the ground and then just rotate by the front, and I think the BMW mimics that the most, and I am not too comfortable kind of just having the front to kind of do the corner but then the rear to do half or even more than half of the rotation. Yeah, Victor, maybe part of that is the default setup. Like, you will be able to judge it a bit better on the open setup that I will have for Imola. Because Imola is the best track to judge these rear slip problems because of all the quick weight transitions, because of the chicanes, because you really flick it from left to right or right to left. Then if the tire is rubbery, it should kind of have some elasticity to catch the weight transfer. And then you can really feel if some sleep abuse is beneficial in the chicanes as well. Yeah, Michelle, like again, it's really interesting how we perceive things differently. Because for me, the build audio is like heaven to drive. It's really good. Too much ABS. Is this a cut? Ah, as long as we stay on curb, it's fine. 19.1 still. That was a terrible turn one. Well, 8/10 of the airhand pace. Happens sometimes. Not sure if he has practiced this a bit or done some more races in the past days. I hope he did, otherwise I'm just slow and there is no other explanation. Game is so loud. Yeah. So you mean I am not loud enough for the game? I can do something like this. If this is better, let me know. I have reduced the game audio a little bit. It's difficult because sometimes I stream iRacing and then RF2 again or LMU, and all the games kind of have different volumes, and I don't know how to make it work so that I would always have a normalized audio. Yeah, Michelle, exactly. Really good to see people enjoying different cars and actually the BOP working. Gumball is catching me. I'm driving like the biggest nooba today. 1 lap to go. Last chance for an 18.9. Hyper. Yeah, the McLaren is gonna be screaming for 2 hours more, so we better fix the audio now. The rear is a bit too drifty, or the rear allows a little bit too high slip angle at that speed for sure. Yeah, they have slightly overdone that change when they reduced a bit of the edge of the, well, of how sharp the tire response is. high feature. Yeah, basically I really love them. They're really nice. Just a bit too much R factor 2E. They need to just return a little bit of edge from before the update. 18.8. Okay. I guess if I did 18.8 every lap, I would be... I could do 18.8 every lap with a lot more practice. But GG Erhan, he pulled a massive gap. Let's check that start. Ah, that's loud. That start was so funny. Oh. What is going on there? I guess sound bug. Anyway. Yeah, Yo-Yo, it's for sure a bit more drivable for the average driver, but the issue is that it's probably less intuitive or like trickier to be fast then. Because you cannot rely on the front as much. You really have to feel the rear stepping around and using the slip angle. And Erhan is really good at that. I'm not that great at that, so I prefer BMW, which has a bit more mechanical grip on the front and a bit more downforce on the front. So I don't know, like I have taken way too V-shaped or way too wide line, but poor guys. Ferrari is supposedly having a lot of traction, but how do you snap it like that? That's, I guess that's TC0. Like I never have experience like that, even on cold tires. Poor BMW. Loss of talent. I don't know. I mean, there is traction control so that people are allowed to have a little bit of loss of talent. But it didn't work for whatever reason. And then I had to slam on the brakes. It was quite close, like once more. And then flat out again. Not sure if the Ferrari or like the McLaren is just very fast on the straight or what, or if it's actually good slipstream. Okay, well that was a straightforward move, and then that was the lap with the cut. And then next time around here you kind of really need to block the inside. But then if somebody has overspeed... I mean, in real life, if you're on the inside, you can always just brake way too late and outbrake yourself and push the other guy off track and go off track yourself. But if there was, like, if the move was not completed fully, then you are allowed to stay ahead or some nonsense like that they allow in real life. But here... okay, I was turning towards him a little bit, but well, he tried to make me take the middle line. I think that would not have been possible on open setup, because this fixed setup is so understeer on the exit that he had massive problem there to make it. So me with a very open entry could keep it flat out. I wonder if... Wait, can you see actually? Just about on the trace. Not sure if that's showing TC. I think I was flat out. Like on that thing. I think it's showing the filtered trace, so could potentially be showing a bit of TC. And then I was ahead, and then... That's something that you just don't do because it makes no sense. I mean, if you brake 10 meters too late, then yeah, you will get to the corner first, but you will not make the corner, or... Luckily it's RF2 or LMU, so you can catch it. And server is off. Right, 15 minutes to go to the Imola race. Yeah, Davi, 15 minutes of Imola prep and then Imola. Plus 0.1%. Yeah, Erhan doesn't have really huge rating. Hi Mudyar, thank you for the sub. Erhan is still silver too, so yeah, he has gained a lot. He's still bronze on safety rating. Well, a novice driver just happened to be ultra quick. Right, let's find a practice server then. Unable to join the server? Okay, well. And thank you for the sub, my weird taste. Welcome. Hi Daniele. Yeah, feature, the FFB, I don't know how to put it even, like it's, to me it actually feels by far the most connected of all sims, apart from RF2. There is a little bit of mid-dead zone, like sometimes, but I think FFB, like FFB is doing exactly what tire is doing, or like what suspension is doing. But I felt it on hypercars sometimes that like in the very middle it was just like a big dead zone, like in this phase. The tire actually didn't grip, but to me it's not FFB problem, to me it's like kind of almost a new tire feeling where you need to scrub the surface or something by a bug or by a design. But it's been like that since the new tires in RF2 happened sometimes, for some reason on some tracks. Almost kind of feels like aquaplaning for some corners, and then it's fine. Yeah, was it Jardier or was it Nils? I think I watched some stream of a guy telling that there should be more dials in the FFB settings in-game to add damper and some other things, but the point here is that RF2 doesn't really have any like artificial things to add, like it's just directly transferring the forces from the suspension to the FFB. So yeah, I don't know, like what you feel is what is going on with the tire, so I think blame the tire, not the FFB in that case. But I feel exactly what I need to feel to be fast, like there is nothing I don't feel, so... And I don't really have a problem. You have like Ferrari hypercar, low speed lack of front grip, and then the FFB feels dead in hairpins. But again, it's not FFB, actually the front of the car is dead in the hairpins, it just doesn't have much grip. Maybe it was both Niels and Jardir. Cold tires. It's gonna take a couple of laps here to get tires up to temp. But yeah, potentially with them numbing down the edge on the tire slip grip, or like allowing a little bit more temperature build up before the tires die, that potentially created that problem where the rear slips or likes to slip a little bit, and then you need to use that, and then it's actually more difficult to be sharp or like consistent, because the rear kind of does this, you know, just kind of kicks around instead of fully sticking. Yeah, this Aqua Minerale is so difficult with these rear engine cars. And Imola is still having these cut issues. I think like for like 5 times per lap we will see a green cut warning pop up, if I do it correctly, and then disappearing. And every time one needs to look at the message, if it's yellow cut or green cut or orange cut, and react to that. Well, Daniela, again, I would argue that the FFB is telling you exactly what the rear is doing, but the issue is that the rear response is weird. I don't even know how to explain what I want, because I don't really understand what's going on, but it's kind of like it kind of loses full contact with the ground, or like kind of does the touring car thing, like it just rotates on its own, just slides a little bit too much on its own without being forced to do it, and then it's just like casually sliding around and not doing really anything much, so you don't feel much because not much is going on, so it's just like a linear or like constant force from the rear. Is this a cut? Oh, this is not a cut. Copy. The corner just became a bit easier then. I remember ACC being a bit weird with the cuts. I mean, I have not done it much. Actually, I need to check how many hours I have in ACC. I think it was like 3 to 500. It's something, but it's not enough to have a proper idea. Should be 9 minutes to go. Just enough for maybe 2 more laps. I want to fix that tiny pedal plug-in thing. Like, it's showing the BMW, but it's not showing the McLaren. Yeah, this pendulum thing. Not sure if you see it, but in the middle of the chicane, when you arrive at the point that you need to move the weight from the left to right, or like, I mean, from turning left to turning right, when you gently turn to the right, the weight switches, but it just keeps going. It doesn't stick like it should. It goes immediately into the slip zone. Actually, this corner is funny. If you have kind of a deadly snap, you just smash the brake and ABS will save you. and I need to remind myself the track limits at the Variante Alta, so this chicane before now. You can cut the first apex a lot, but the second one you need to stay on that secondary curb and not fly through it. Yeah, Daniele, we need a bit more peakiness for sure. The rears need to stay in the sharper zone instead of just sliding out of it. And then exit understeer. And that's just the story of this car. It's overpowered, a Civic Type R. On the brakes the rear dances a lot, on throttle it goes straight. But it's good, you know. It's nice. It just requires a couple of more hours of work on the tire model. Is this a cut? Oi, why is this not a cut? Do we have a Dan or an Andy in the chat? I mean, if that's not a cut, I have to use that, you know? 1,500 hours, that's a respectable amount of laps. But yeah, well, seeing Bego, I try to do the reverse, going from RF2 to ACC. I really try to enjoy it and understand it. But again, it never clicked to me. I couldn't understand what the car wants from me. It just felt like the tires are wooden, the FFB was dull. So yeah, I really hope MSG stays afloat, or the devs get the chance to properly keep developing this game, because this is beautiful. And if not anything else, it's a really good counterweight to iRacing and AC. Danielle, about traction, I'm still of the opinion that ever since, I think in 2021, the new tire model in the RF2 was introduced, ever since then the traction has been absolutely horrendous. And as soon as the car has a bit of power, you are just counter-steering on the exits. Let's do a pit lane practice. Alright, a bit later than that triangle starts on the left, should be fine. Alright, well, let's see how fast other people are. Well, track limit system is great, but it requires a precise implementation for each track. Like, there are these cut corridors that the devs adjust, or like the modders can adjust, and it's super adjustable, and there are so many parameters that you can do. You can adjust everything, like how much you have to lose speed to not be a cut and so on, all the thresholds, and it feels like it's not been really properly thought over for Acque Minerali. Yeah. Yeah, 70 kph mid corner. That iRacing Ferrari hypercar is something else. Where is Michi? I think Michi was supposed to... Ah, there is Michi. Actually, why do I have Discord opened? I need to close it down so I have a bit more FPS. Gonna be a good race. Why is Yoski not doing this? He's just enjoying the full push races. Maybe we can quickly check what was the fuel usage and calculate the strategy. So 2.8 per lap. And if it's 90-minute race and if pit stop is 1 minute, and if we are doing 40 freeze, that's 103.5 at best. Could be 52 laps divided by, what was it, 2.8, right? Not divided, times. 52 times 2.8. It's actually, is that 2 full tanks even? Could be. Oh yeah, like Interlagos. Yeah, I saw Nils using a lot of that runoff area there. Let me be back in a minute. A very quick break. Alright, Francisca, what build do I have? This is Grid Engineering Porsche 911 RSR replica on SimuCube 2 Pro wheelbase. And about Acque Minerale line, well, I don't know. Not enough practice, but it's a very difficult corner. It's really not easy. So as long as you brake late and are kind of stable, it's kind of fine. Need to pay attention to the fuel ratio as well. Well, it says 0.78. So, well, 78, 79 liters for the full portion of virtual energy. And I still didn't fix the car manufacturer logo. I don't know, probably not enough time now. Need to focus on beating Michi. Although it could be just about a simple reload if a straight is long enough. Vehicle brand editor. Import from LMU REST API. Save. Ah, okay. Well, there you go. Well, there is still a car on wets, but we have the logos, so that's nice. And again, I hope the volume now is alright between the mic and car engine. I really don't know how to reliably set correctly every time so that the mic is not too loud or that the car is not too loud. I guess I'm just gonna take 0.8 fuel ratio. And then it could be like 3 or 4 laps of under fuel for the second stint. And we will for sure have to monitor what happens with the lap times. If they keep dropping, then it's better to change the tires. But it could be just a double stint. A race will start, so it's 4 minutes of practice, then it's like, it should be 10 or 12 minutes of quali, so you have 15 minutes for sure. For a nice long shower. Also, I need to remember I'm in the slower class, so I need to take a lap of fuel extra at the pit stop. Well, Jack, I don't know what exactly is the programming problem. Like the reason why they have that Porsche as a temp car is that when a guy loads into the server and you are on track, you're not getting a big lag because the connection and the computer is trying to load the actual car and delivery, which is quite a big file to load. And then if you have 10 cars doing that at the same time, it inevitably results in a big rejoin lag. Although I'm sure that there is a programming way to fix it without having a temp car, but well, for now we have the temp car. But ironically, we still have join lags sometimes. So oversteery on brakes. That's the most tricky part of this McLaren, when you have to brake and change direction at the same time. I mean, you can make it stable, of course, but if you make it stable, then your exits will be like you have, well, basically no front wheels. Just fully straight. Yeah, Jack, that's a great question, you know. Yeah, indeed, a hypercar temp file would be quite good. But the best would be, of course, to have a proper full solution. Although with the limited resources that the studio have or has, I first prefer to have more important things fixed. You know, I prefer having a temp car and cars that don't go 10 seconds per lap too quick. But yeah, I understand it's a really weird thing, like it looks really weird. Especially in RF2, because in RF2 it's just a yellow box without any lighting, and then if you're practicing a night server, you have a dark yellow box without lights, without reflections, and it's super scary. And then for people who are trying the game for the first time, they probably think there is a bug. Okay, so I can really abuse the curb on the left. Davi, I suppose everyone likes to drive GT3s then. I'm thinking about the Sundays 2.4 hours of Le Mans. I kind of want to drive the hypercar, but well, it's just the GT3 week, right? I can brake a bit later. Okay. Yep, the 2.4 hours of Le Mans. It's gonna be a beautiful race. I hope. So 10 minutes. 10 minutes, I guess I just keep the 20 liters. Did Michi improve in the end? He's now P1, I guess he did pretty good lap. But it will be a McLaren versus Ferrari. Do hyper on the weekend. I'm happy to do the hyper on the weekend. I need to ask the guys. Ah, cold tires, of course. It says low grip, but 48 Celsius. 48 track time, that should actually mean that in real life temps of the tires skyrocket and then you cannot really push hard because you get immediate overheating. Yeah, I'll practice a bit for 2.4 of Le Mans as well. I'm really thinking of trying the BMW hypercar again. I did the Le Mans special events already with that car, but before the update. Or I could take the Toyota, but Toyota is not the greatest in the straight line, I think. And also I don't really have a Le Mans setup for it. Let's see how much time I have to optimize. Am I not bored of GT3s done? Or what do you mean? And Xesh, I watched a little bit of Nils. I mean, you can make it work, of course, with the open setup, if you know what you're doing. His car looked alright. The balance and pace and so on. Yeah, the rears are slightly too sliding, for sure. The devs know it. They have slightly overdone after the update, going from maybe a bit too sharp to a bit too slidey response from the tire. Lambo around Le Mans. Supposedly it should be the fastest car, maybe, the Lambo. It's not the easiest though. Very bouncy over curbs. The lines he was taking were vile. I don't know. I would really need to double check the car again, like with open setup and so on. I just did one race with the Corvette at Portimao unfixed, and that was pretty horrendous with the entry oversteer. Michi liked it. I couldn't handle it. Anyway, how are the tires only like 15 Celsius hotter than the track? Or 20? Where is my grip? Would I recommend Le Mans Ultimate? Well, in my opinion, it's the best sim on the market. But I'm... like, my opinion is based on my values, which are feeling of connection to the road and great FFB and so on. And the ultimate realism. And I think at the moment other sims don't really have it. Mustang and Merc, yeah, well, Lambo V10 is gonna be beautiful. Also the Lexus, if it makes it. I think there is a Lexus, right? Right, so tires are up to temp. Let's do some fast lap times. I lost so much DL the previous lap because of the mess up in the first chicane. Yeah, that's the difficult weight transfer that I was talking about before. Very messy. Thank you for the sub, Cappy. Welcome. Michi with 43-0. I have 2 more attempts. Countersteer into understeer. So is this a cut? Why is that not a cut? And that's a 42.9. And we can still improve by a couple of tenths. But Michi improved as well. Okay, well, last lap shootout for pole then. Just about survived Villeneuve chicane. I don't know how to take Acqua Minerale without cuts. Just will send. I wonder how many purple sectors Mitch is setting currently. No! That's not an improvement. What did I do there even? The delta just died. Oh dear, well, GG Michi. He messed it up as well, but well, that's close. Quick check of the replay. I just didn't carry enough speed. I think I braked too early, and I was just way too far on the inside. And then my angle was bad. Maybe the tire wear was starting to kick in already, because, well, I've done 6 laps. Alright then. Hi Arnaud. Robe, I'm using SimuCube 2 Pro. And Francisca, the co-op mode is actually quite fun. I think this game has the best AI of any game. Like it's I done one co-op event once with Michi actually. It was good fun. So I mean, I'm not really that much into, well, driving against AI and so on. But I can see why it is fun, and you're actually competing against others, just like together with a teammate, offline, wherever or whenever you have time, and then you get the time onto the leaderboard and so on. It's a alright of a system. Beep 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 when I leave the car. That's Motec. Actually, what's it called? The DAM plugin, Data Acquisition Motec something plugin, which is like a plugin for RF2 or LMU to produce LD files, which you can then open up in Motec and analyze the telemetry. About True Drive profile, well, I can quickly show. And that's it. And it's the old, like, it's not fully updated. It's 24.5 version, because the new reconstruction filter is having, or is making problems to me. But if it's not, then you can take the new one and like filter 5 or 6-ish. Anyway, I think we have fuel. Start. And then we will fuel up, I don't know, 72. Let's see. Actually ratio, let's keep the ratio like it is. And then reduce the virtual energy. And let's hope that the hypercar cars or drivers know how to drive. I'm catching up. I need to be ready for early green. Thank you, chat. Thank you, Matteo. Slow down. Alright. Well. Michi has got quite a head start. That P2 was not the greatest place. Relatively clean hypercar start. Uh-oh. Not relatively clean anymore. And with these track temps, I think it will be beneficial to save tires a bit. I'll try my best to fully abuse that off-track. No, I'll try to be reasonable with track limits, but I don't even know how far you can go there. At Aqua Minerale, you can go so wide. And off he goes. It's scary having to look for the hypercars, finding weird lanes through. Michi actually had to move off lane to let him through. One more hypercar incoming. How many did bin it in lap 1? But that starting position was really weird, like I think it just put Michi together with a hypercar in the front row. And then I was just whole row behind him. into the slipstream. So let's see how much rear wing they have. Yeah, the staggered start would be a pretty good thing to have, but, well, one day potentially. Michi is really taking it easy. 45.1, that's 2 seconds of pace in quali. Not sure if this is faster, just feels more stable. Yeah, Francesca, I'll see. I think I have a little bit of top speed advantage. Which in turn means that the Ferraris ahead have better cornering performance. But I'm happy to fuel save a little bit. .44.3, yeah, that's alright of a pace, I think. But we will be in 43 soon. Is that a cut? That's not a cut. Interesting. I think the timer disappeared for 2 seconds, but the green cut warning did not appear. The exit is for sure easier if you go a bit wider. Yeah, done about the cuts. Sometimes they don't show, sometimes they show. But these Imola cuts, like, they have to be improved. Although not sure how they police it in real life. But even if I don't get a cut, like just seeing 5 green warnings per lap is useless. Like, I don't have to see a green warning if I don't have to act upon it. I mean, with these curbs it's alright, because the curbs are really lenient and you can take them and it's fine, mostly. Because the worst thing you can do is make track limit poorly, like in theory or theoretical, without any physical limitation. If you make the limit like between curb and grass, it's much better than... I mean, okay, this Acque Minerale, this is the only place where it's really like weird, like you can just go 10 meters off track, I think. lets you know. Gumball has Michi's toe, but I seem to just have much better top speed. He's gonna let me. Well, thank you. Probably a reasonable choice because I just had so much of an overspeed that he would just lose time with me battling. Okay, well then I don't understand this anymore. Why let me through and then dive in the next corner where your car is the strongest? But we will try again. I think the second chicane is my worst corner on the whole track. Hi Ducat. Yeah, Dan, I will try to remember. It's gonna be a relatively late clock, so if I forget, remind me if you don't forget either. Well then, back into P2. I have relatively high rear wing, so I don't know why I'm gaining so much on the straight, unless he has actually max wing. I think I'm running the 6.6 degrees. 6.4. Alright. Consolidated in P2 then. What's happening behind? That was Gumball. Straight into the gravel. Yeah, Jack, exactly. Even when I have them on lowest details, like I have most of things on lowest details. I have texture filter on max, texture detail on high, and then I have player detail on high, but opponent detail is on low. And post-processing is on lowest possible. .144 frames per second. I think I have them limited at 200-ish or something. I would prefer to use G-Sync, I think, but then I cannot use the overlay, and I kind of like overlay. But first wave of proper hypercar traffic is coming. Oh yeah, iRacing, like I don't know, like both ACC and iRacing just feel so strange. I found myself struggling racing in iRacing because for some reason when I'm driving close behind another car, I kind of tend to like do that weird psychological thing, you know, when the car ahead kind of goes slightly wide. I do the same for no reason. Like when he cuts the curb, I cut the curb. If he has a bit of snap, I tend to have bigger chances of a snap. I don't know why exactly that's happening, but I kind of constantly have a bit of focus on the car ahead if driving close. So there's a big issue then with iRacing and ACC, because in iRacing the cars are just moving around so much, like left to right mostly, but in ACC it's even worse because they are moving frontward, like front and backwards, and it's so distracting. That's a dive. Let's flash him to let him know he did something wrong, but well, people will only learn if we crash, but I don't want to crash, so then it's again like if I turn in, we crash because and it's gonna be his fault, but we don't want to crash, so he can go for it, right? So it's a solid move for him. He didn't lose time with me, and he knew that I don't want to crash, so I'm gonna go straight instead of take the apex. And it's not an incident, so nice lockup. Time to re-catch Michi. Yeah, about Unreal Engine 4, I thought when I learned that ACC uses it, I thought, well, that's gonna be the best game ever, like when it comes to sim racing and graphics. It's gonna finally have like good sim racing graphics. But I could never set it to work well, it always looked horrendous for me. And I was like, what's going on? Why is that the case? It's Unreal Engine 4, it should be looking great. But there are like, yeah, objects popping in and out of existence, and even on high details there are trees spawning everywhere, and I struggled setting it up. And it looked, yeah, grainy or like weird. And I guess that's the reason why Kunos decided to just go their own way, right? Instead of Unreal. I like my tire wear. In RF2, this car destroys the rears no matter what you do. Like, you need consciously to destroy the fronts like mad to kind of have similar front to rear wear. Otherwise you end up with like 60-65% fronts and 25% rears after a stint. But here we have a balanced wear, so that's nice. Well, the smoothness of the frame rate is a story of its own. I used to drive some races years ago in R Factor 2 with 35 FPS. And it was perfectly drivable and smooth and so on. Well, it was 35 FPS, you know, but it was smooth, as much as it can be. Then one day in RF2 I had 200 FPS, but it was choppy and stuttery and really bad to drive, so I know that it's also about that 1% FPS percentile and so on. But yeah, LMU is really smooth. I mean, at the moment I'm really like pushing my luck with the CPU because it's just fully abused on all cores with OBS running and streaming and LMU trying to produce good FPS. But yeah, I'm having really good FPS actually. I have not thought of it yet. There were optimizations when it comes to graphics. And before, on race starts, I was struggling with like 80, 90 FPS, but now I had like 130 plus all the time. Now I have 140 to 180 around the track. That's really solid. Do I even need a new CPU anymore? Like this is good. I can survive with 160 average. I mean, okay. Something is Imola with 38 cars and Michi driving a second ahead of me. Another thing is 60 cars at Le Mans at dusk with the rain and all the lights around the track. And yeah, about 30 FPS I was like, well, human eye can see how many, 27, 30, whatever FPS. But I've read all different opinions on the internet what to do with monitor refresh rate and game refresh rate and everything. But, well, 144 or like 139 fixed with G-Sync and ultra low latency mode and everything like that on 144 monitor feels less smooth than 300 FPS without G-Sync and everything else on the same monitor, so it's like a significant difference. I don't know why and how, but at the moment I'm kind of the opinion that for max smoothness and max performance you just want to have the craziest refresh rate possible. No, then, like, I don't know, 360 Hz monitor and the most overkill computer ever to still produce 600 frames per second in worst conditions, and then it's gonna be significantly like smoother. But let's not bin it. This ABS is such a cheat code. Not sure if I would have caught that in a GTE. Maybe I would have caught it, but then I would go straight into the gravel. ABS is such a convenient thing to have. And Michi is seemingly struggling a bit. Or maybe he's fuel saving more than I. He's struggling. He's more struggling than fuel saving. And then in RF2, the McLaren is among the best cars on the tire wear, if you manage to hold the rear together, otherwise the rear is one of the worst of all GT3s. But on a solid setup, without over pushing, it's really good on the tires. And the Ferrari... I'm not sure about the Ferrari. think the Ferrari GTE on RF2 was the worst on the tires. Not sure about the GT3 one. I think it was alright. Ah yeah, because we did that GT Challenge thing a year and a half ago. And I had the AMG, which was a 10th quicker in quali. And the Ferrari sports guys had the Ferrari, which was a 10th slower in quali. But from lap 10 onwards, they were eating me alive. Every race. Alright, Ducat, enjoy that one. Yeah, LMU Championship, let's see. I'm yet to try to qualify or like put laps together for that Pro Series. I think it's gonna be like properly Pro Series, as much as it can be. My rear starting to dance around a little bit, even when not being on full limit. But the temps are good, like the fronts are not significantly hotter or colder than the rears and so on. I think it's again the case that the longer we go into the race, the better the tires perform. Like more solid, they feel more balanced, or more predictable at least, even if the rear is, well, producing less grip. And that's gravel. Bonnie, it's, well, I'm not really calculating necessarily like if it's a like proper race preparation for a league race or for an esports race. You kind of see what are the potential strategies, and then you calculate how much you lose by like increasing the stint by 1 lap or 2 laps or 3 laps, and then you kind of try around the track, lifting a bit earlier, a bit later in one corner or other corner. Probably the most professional way would be to have like a proper calculation or some model upon which you would estimate where to lift and coast. But I think, like, theoretically it actually turns out that it doesn't matter too much where you lift and coast. Like, you don't need to be super precise. But obviously you lift more into, like, from high speed straights into lower speed corners than elsewhere. I'm not gonna push my luck with these hypercars there. But in a race like this, the idea is basically not to follow a target, or well, always stay... Ooh, well, that was not the greatest way for that BMW around Michi. So yeah, like here, if I had a target, I would try my best to stay within that target. But strategy-wise, no, it doesn't really matter. So what I have to do now is to overtake Michi. And if I see I don't have a big run on him, I will just take the chance to save fuel. At the same time, I need to stay close to him, like I cannot decide a target and then just keep dropping down. but we're really so tight together on pace. In some laps I go closer, in some laps he pulls away. But the tire pace seems consistent, although it's not improving lap by lap, yet at least. It feels like this ABS keeps kicking in for a long time, like even at very low inputs on the brake in some corners. It really works like a stability control sometimes. The other times it works like a front grip reducer. So 11 more laps of energy, and I need to adjust my fuel ratio. 7.7 is better. Ay. I keep struggling with these chicane entries. The rear just snaps. Maybe it's ABS being too low or something. Or maybe I would just have to add a bit of front spring stiffness or front bump in the dampers to stop it from compressing this quick. Or even front packers, but usually if you hit packers in RF2 it means that it's gonna reduce the grip a lot momentarily, and probably cause a lockup if it's bumpy braking zone. Although with these GT3s with ABS, it would need to be tested. Is that a cut? It is. I'm taking it. Oh, it was the first cut. Okay. I've got quite some breathing room still. Alright, Franciszka, have a good day at school tomorrow. And thank you for watching and having a chat. Yeah, the limited tires are... yeah, they are added. Although for a race like this, they... I don't know, like... You don't need 8 new tires, right? You need 2 maybe. I think this is the best way to take that corner. 2 wheels on the curb and 2 wheels beyond that triangle edge. And then ABS makes your car stable on the braking and your exit is much more straightforward. but I hope they fix the track limit there soon. So I need 80% refill according to Tiny Pedal plugin. And then for sure I have to add a lap to that, at least to be safe, if not two. Christian ABS only on GT3s. iBram, I really like the GT3s. I mean, like overall I prefer higher powered cars, so if it was not a special occasion like this week, I would be gravitating towards the hypercars. But I still think, despite small issues that still have to be resolved on the tires and maybe suspension or aero model with excessive dive and squat of the car, I think this is still the best GT3s on the market, or like the most fun ones to drive. They feel the most connected to the ground of all sims. And yeah, we will see for 2.4 hours of Le Mans. I hope they properly limit the tires. I'll meet you with a wobble or with a rear snap. ABS, I think on McLaren I have 5. On some other cars I have way more. I think on Corvette I had to run max because the entries are so oversteery. But again, each GT3 has a very specific driving characteristics. Like BMW is so much different than the other 3 that are rear-engined. And the Corvette is super loose on the entries, rotates like crazy, which is quite nice for some types of corners. And the BMW basically feels like a very heavy Formula car. My first proper tow here, behind Michi. Too far. But time to experience a bit of dirty air. That run through Villeneuve chicane was actually more stable. I wasn't really that close though, so not sure if dirty air or placebo. Well, rather more understeered than more stable, but yeah. The Porsche GT3 will be quite nice. And let's hope by the time... Ooh, it's slow apex Bamichi. Ooh, he's all over the place. By the time they introduce the Porsche, I hope they will as well fix the little bit of rear slidiness. Anyway, I have to go for this opportunity. I unstabilized him a little bit. Let's disappoint the Italian fans at Imola. Maybe not this lap. Oh, don't go for it there. Well, Yo-Yo, isn't it brilliant? Like, it's so good to have a driver, a respectable driver that's on the same pace as you. More often than not. And it's also a good BOP test, right? Like we have basically exactly the same pace here. Although not sure how much fuel he is gonna have saved. We will see in 5 laps. That's a track limit. Oh, yeah. Alright. I mean, I was off track. But I lost time. But Ferrari seems way more reluctant to take the hairpin apex. Even though I'm understeering with ABS towards the apex, I normally hit it. Michi must be fuming with me taking that off track there, but well, it's not an off track, so... hypercar things. I mean, it's not easy to judge, like if you have not done much multiclass races in the past. It's not easy to judge what exactly to do, where to go for the move and where not to go. You need to get the actual experience. Almost a tandem drift. Now tiny pedal overlay says 77% refill. That's one lap less than before. I mean, overall it's kind of the same, like me going wide and Michi going narrow, but carrying more speed. Is that a Ferrari trait or what? That rear wheel spin? Nah, that's Michi's TC override. He went magic button, full throttle, counter steer. Am I close enough now? Gran Turismo style screen, I think. I know how to respond. What you see here, camera position, is exactly what you would see in an actual race car if you sat there, like that. Like dimensions and geometry and ratios. Because you see your mirror like there, like far there. You don't see the mirror like up front, you see it very far. On the right and the left. So I think my geometry is more realistic than having like the stock cockpit position. And also I actually want to see the track, not the cockpit. And I think it also looks better on the screen. Not to have like a small windshield in the middle of the monitor, but for the windshield to actually take most of the space on the monitor. With triple screens it's fine because the A pillar there, like it goes where the limit between two monitors is. But with ultra wide it's difficult to position it anywhere. Yeah, RIP Alexei. It's 70 centimeters away from me, the monitor. And then from the... well, I guess I need to battle there. I mean, I kept talking because I kind of thought that I'm not close enough for a move. Track limits. Alright. So yeah, 70 centimeters from me to monitor, and then from the camera position to actual virtual position of windshield. I think it's correct distance, but one would have to actually like measure. I wish I will soon have a chance to try VR, but I would need a better PC first. Well, my 3080 RTX is good enough, but the 12,600K would struggle a bit. Potentially. So one more lap of virtual energy. Is Michi boxing? He's boxing! Alright! Well, I think 77 is risky, 80 is still a bit risky. I don't know, I'll take 82. Now question is, change tires or not change tires? Uh-oh, what happened to Michi? Tires are good, are they? I mean, they have not dropped, but they have not gained anything. Are there still 20 or like 12 seconds for a swap? Well, it's not 12, right? Even if it's 12, it's more like 15 or 16 because of how long they take to warm up. Well, Dan says tires are good, so tires are good, right? But box. Taking quite a bit, well, yeah, 2 laps extra of fuel just in case. But judging between the lap times of Michi and Gumball, I don't know how to judge that. 17 seconds slower for Gumball. So Sadi, issue is that the energy takes energy takes time kind of non-concurrent with fuel. It's a bit weird, but you lose time by taking more energy. Automatic speed limiter. So Michi is coming. And Michi is behind. He must have had an issue with the pit stop, right? Because he complained in the chat. I mean, I had to refuel 1 lap less, but still. Are my tires cold or what? Yeah, maybe slightly colder than optimal. Someone ran into him. Oh no. Is it damage disabled if you're in the box? I think at some point they have disabled damage in some occasions. He do not have damage. Okay. Good. But I really wonder how he lost that lap. I mean, it's not much fuel for a lap. I went a lap longer, but that's maybe like half a second. Although, yeah, I was right on his rear and now I'm right ahead of him. So it is maybe exactly that half a second. Now I wonder where is Gumball and if he has changed tires. I wasn't really paying attention to the gaps before. And then Tiny Pedal plugin just shows laps to the leader instead of the relative because, well, I have disabled the relative gaps. And good that I have taken more fuel, because now it shows in the end cell that I will end up with 1 lap extra fuel. That's a bit wide. And I have taken 2 laps of extra fuel, so... he seems to have a bit more grip now. Or maybe it's McLaren things, the fuel tank being positioned a bit more forward or something, and then I have more understeer on full tank. It feels good to have the faster car on the straight. No need to crazy defend every time. Although I'm still looking at him in the mirror all the time. So I did 44.9. Yeah, it does feel like 1 second of pace. But the Gumball is far behind. It's so difficult to judge where the curbs are when the car is parked on them ahead. Now the end fuel goes to 0, so... I hope I have enough fuel. Well, it's jumping between 0 and 2, so... I need to take that target for 3.44 energy per lap, or maybe even 3.2. Gumball 44.2. That's, well, not a whole second faster, but that can still gain 15 seconds in these 20 laps. Don't worry, these cuts will be fixed. Until they are fixed, I'm gonna keep using them. Copy done. Well, that's quite an achievement. Well, that was a substantial drift, but it didn't feel like an esports drift. Like I actually lost grip and time. But I mean, there is difference between tires are fine and tires are actually fast. Well, 44.7 is fast enough, I suppose. And with a better lap it would be below 44.5. So maybe it's half a second off pace of the first stint. I'm uncomfortable with this tight fuel in the end. I need to save for an extra lap. And then I almost beam it into T1. I wonder if my tiny pedal overlay is bugging or if Gumball is actually cutting every lap. But I kind of want to see his lap times on the new tires. They say manage tires. I mean, it kind of happens at the same time. If you manage tires, it kind of means that it's gonna... Well, you will brake earlier, not to overload them in the braking zone, so you will save a little bit of fuel there. You will not put the power down too hard, so you will save a little bit of fuel on the exit. But I mean, it's an easy way to have things go wrong, right? Because if you have like enough of fuel, then you can push the fuel, but you need to save tires. It's kind of alright, especially if you have mixes or like if you can use higher revs. But if you can push the tires but you have to save fuel, then it's difficult to save fuel and push the tires at the same time, because then you kind of need to be much more aggressive in the corners, but it feels counterintuitive when you lift and coast. And when you lift and coast, you don't have all the reference for the perfect braking point, because you have done most laps on full push, more often than not, especially if there is a need for quali grind. So then you kind of brake 20 meters early, and then you arrive at the corner with speed that is a lot lower than what your fresh tires could manage. And then you are saving fuel and tires and costing yourself lap time, because you could be pushing tires a lot more. If that makes sense. I have noticed it with myself a couple of times in the past. Trying to hit that second target for the virtual energies of 3.257. But I have not been under 3.3 yet, so... And then Michi is on my rear. I think my tiny pedal overlay is broken a bit, or like it's not picking up Gumball's lap times, but well, he's over 20 seconds behind anyway, so it's not really relevant. Well explained. Well, good to hear. It's not easy to find the most clear words when actually trying to hold on for the lead, so... I've heard new sub notification, thank you so much. I have missed the name though, so... Thank you anyway. Much appreciated. .154 could be. Yeah, Michi has that big overlay with everyone on it, right? I see Michi is on the magic button again. Please lift. Thank you. Good evening, Fabio. Slightly too much gravel there. But luckily my car seems to be really good on the straight and in the last two corners at the same time, somehow. Always getting nice balance out to the last corner. But Michi is just having more downforce, I think. I was thinking if I should cover Michi on the inside or not, but then the BMW appeared in the mirror and I didn't need to do any decision anymore. Fabio, you mean the Pro Series, right? Yeah, I mean, if a lot of fast people are doing it, then it would be foolish not to try to attend. And then if we have some fast people, some streamers, or like official broadcast and something like that, it would be quite a good thing to be part of that. So yeah, I'm planning to qualify and then see what happens. And then we hope that if there is enough of us on the list of fast enough people, then maybe other fast enough people will join as well, and then we can have one big party. And Michi is in the gravel. I was just thinking of it being quite difficult to match the target, like the 3.2, while having Michi on my rear, but I have a bit of breathing space now. Do it, just in case. It's so funny seeing these hypercars outbrake themselves into the last two corners, because, well, I have done it myself so many times. I exactly feel them. It's a very difficult braking zone. Is that a cut? That was... should have just kept it flat. But I was looking at the Porsche ahead and thought, well, maybe he's gonna be so slow that I could get rid of the cut while waiting for him not to crash into him, but anyway, free half a second to Michi. My tires are not gripping like before. temps are fine. Hi Domi, is beautiful indeed. Another hypercar into the gravel. That costed me a little bit. That was Toyota. I think Toyota is one of the most difficult ones to get into the gravel. LMH and good on brakes and so on. It's still a challenging braking zone. I keep sawing with my steering wheel into turn 1 and here as well. I just don't know what grip to expect. I turn in, the rear kind of starts sliding a bit. I never know where is the optimal input. And I don't know if that's a realistic or unrealistic thing, or a good or a bad thing. Or if I'm just slow. Daniela, I think Michi lost out a lot yesterday because of looking at the chat at the wrong time, but not sure if that's the whole explanation of his gap. I don't think he's struggling, like there is nothing too new about it, and for the whole distance of this race we were really tight together, pace-wise. Clutch and coast is a bit weird. I squeezed the clutch, but the revs were really slow to drop. Fabio, yeah, I saw what happened to you on, I think, Neil's stream. Or was it Jardir? No, I think I was watching Jardir's stream for a couple of minutes. Front is reluctant to hit the apex just by itself sometimes. Or it feels like that if I turn in and take the apex, if I carry a little bit too much speed at that point, that it's not gonna be understeer, but that it's gonna just instantly snap the rear. The BMW is much more consistent into corners in that aspect. Jonsam, I have just had, together with teammate, the wildcard invite for round 2, unfortunately, or fortunately. We tried to qualify, we almost made it in. We didn't really have the optimal prep, like we bought the Porsche car for pre-quali in the middle of the pre-quali week, and then I think 1 or 2 more days and we would make it in. We were missing like 37 milliseconds on average, and then we would be doing the whole season. But that gap we felt like was quite of achievement in itself, because we are not really experienced in iRacing, at least, well, Jesper is, but from 10 years ago, so things have changed by then. So then we got the invite through Rafa Racing Club. And we had alright of a pace, but everything went wrong in that race. Like by our fault, kind of. Or like by our iRacing inexperience. Like I got drive-through for speeding in the pit lane because, well, I upshifted and downshifted to not lose time when traveling on pit limiter. I did that in practice, it was fine. I did that in the race, I got a drive-through. Oh, okay. I saw a hypercar on my rear. 3 seconds later, it was nowhere anymore. But it did go into the gravel. What happened? Wait, no. What happened with Michi? Did he kill Michi? That was Michi in the gravel. Poor man. Oh well. That's some unfortunate content for him. He had to avoid the hypercar, okay. Well then, I suppose. A gentle evening drive with my McLaren back home. Until another hypercar kills me as well. Which part of Slovenia? I am right in the center, from Ljubljana. Michi has lost further time now. 10 seconds. Poor man. I was just waiting for him to have a chance at me. Ups. Because, well, I mean, he had kind of somewhat faster car apart from the main straight, but if I went too much into the gravel here on the exit or something, or if I was pulled down by a hypercar, then he would be on my rear and potentially be able to outbrake me. I was waiting for that to happen, but the luck went my side. Well, the fuel is surely good now, even if we get the extra lap. Border with Croatia. Ooh, I would have to check the the map a little bit. I'm ashamed of myself. I don't really know where exactly is the Bosnian and the Serbian border and so on. I thought I knew, but if I had to draw now, for some reason my brain just froze. I drove through that whole Yugoslavian territory twice in my life, so it's not like I don't know, but I guess I forgot. Michi had to dodge another 2 hypercar. That's been a terrible bad luck. Like we had for some laps in IMSA esports in iRacing. we practice with teammate Jesper with AI at Indy Road course. And like we were 5 laps right like behind each other. I was behind him, and then some traffic came, and suddenly within 5 laps I was 10 seconds behind. We tried 3 times, exactly the same thing happened, and I was like, well, I'm useless in traffic or what? I mean, I always was kind of good, but now I am just useless, or like what's going on? But then I tried driving ahead of him, and there was no issue for me or for him. Like we still had the same pace. I didn't drop down, he didn't easily overtake me if I didn't do a mistake. Sometimes there is this gamble with traffic that is just extreme, and then it tricks you, and then you think you're doing something wrong, but it's actually just an extreme traffic misfortune. And if I was a psychologist, I would be already studying the phenomenon of always feeling like that traffic is worse for you than for others. It always feels like that. I guess it's been a long race for these hypercars. Their brakes are not the best. Very heavy cars. He made it. Why me syndrome? Potentially. Potentially. It's often paired though with the gap actually increasing, so then you're thinking, well, am I really just that unlucky or what? Or maybe there is some correlation between gap and density of traffic, how it goes around the track? Or maybe it's just you starting to think, why are you so unlucky, and then you actually start driving worse and you start managing traffic worse, or everything together. Yeah, Ljubljana is nice, especially in the summer. In the winter, I mean, it's good that there are hills around. Like I would become depressed instantly if I couldn't drive out of the fog into the sunny weather. Actually today I wanted to go, but the fog was up to 1.5 kilometers. So I wanted to drive up on some local mountain, but there has been already snow, so they are skiing on there. Speaking of Krvavec, so I spent the day in the fog. I couldn't live in northern Europe for a long time because I think it's quite foggy there for a good part of the year, or rainy. Is that it? No, 1 lap to go. Yeah, the leader is, I guess, on the other part of the track. fronts are not really cooperating with me now. The rears neither. Kureszczak, that's one of the most nicest places in the southern part of Ljubljana region. The bears, yes. I go often to Kureszczak. Just like, what, 20-25 minutes of drive. It's above the fog more often than not. Haven't met a bear up there yet. Maribor is a nice town as well, to be honest. Last chance for hypercars to kill me. What a giga race indeed. Somebody started to complain about hypercars, but GG to all cancelled him. Alright, well, here we go, across the line. That was a nice race for most of the time against Michi. Fuel was... I actually have 2 laps extra fuel. Well, would be comfortable with 1 lap extra if I pushed. So I don't know what Michi did in the pit. Maybe just took some liters extra. That was a nice race. I don't know if I like the car. Like it's... What's the word? Or what to describe it? The rear is dancing around too much. And I don't know if it's the tires or if it's just the squatting of the rear and the diving of the front on the brakes and on power, because it really feels like a touring car sometimes. Let's see where Michi had his issue. Must have been this lap. You talked with a beer in front of a house. Ooh. I mean, oh, both to the beer experience and to the hypercar experience. Oof. It's so easy to bottle it with hypercar there, because it's kind of squeezed with the rear left onto that curb, and then if you're riding stiff suspension or if you're hitting the packer, it likes to slide so easily. Yeah, good reaction from Michi. Like at this point, yeah, he's already max on brakes. There is nothing he can do apart from like going straight, but at this point it kind of feels like the Alpine is gonna spin to the left, so... Ah, poor man. Poor man. And then you guys said that he had to avoid... Wait, where is timing? He had to avoid another car. Guess it was this one. Both experience quite fun. Ah! Oh man. How does that happen? I mean, it's like it's a blind crest, right? So if it's your first time driving Imola and your first time managing the multiclass race, then I guess, yeah, he has locked up the brakes, trying his best. Yeah. And and then of course he starts moving backwards. Such a terrible luck for Michi. Yeah, Michi said why me, yeah, okay, well, fair enough for the psychological study. Ah, Sashin BMWSU. There is nothing you can do there, right? Like, the Ferrari is kind of in the blind spot. And then, like, you can assume that it's gonna kind of go straight, but more likely is that he will not just go straight. And then if you just go straight to avoid him, you will go into the gravel, and that's... it's just unfortunate. Yeah, cannot see it, of course. Just final check on what happened with the start. Or actually, let's check what happened with the pit stop if the server lets us. So it was lap before this, right? No, this is already the pit lap 28. Ah, come on. I guess we need to use these commands, or maybe just click through. I mean, I don't blame the BMW, like, I blame the developers who have decided in other sims that it would be a good idea to enable ghosting in the pit lane. Like, why would there be ghosting in the pit lane? Like, it's just a pit lane, like, you drive in, you box, like, what? And then Codemasters even disable you from actually doing the pit lane. iRacing, ACC, Race Room, like, they all have ghosting. I did kind of an esports pre-qualifying race in Race Room once. I lost 10 seconds because I didn't know there is ghosting, that ghosting actually exists in sim racing. It's so weird to drive through cars in the pits. I don't know, I really disrespect the decision to enable it in other sims. Poor man. And look how dirty that car is. This windshield dirtiness, it's really good, but from far. Like, if you're looking at... Oh, my windshield is not that dirty. Ah, now the server dies. But when you're in the car, it doesn't... Like, the resolution of the specs of stuff on the windshield are not the best to watch, so... I don't know. Hi, Jan. Yeah, that's a very good consideration. Yeah, I mean, it's not hugely important anyway, but I mean, it's just part of the overall experience, like of the realism. I remember in F1 Challenge 9902, that was my first proper sim, there was option to enable even the... Before the race, the outlap to the grid, like you drove out of the garage onto the grid, park the car on the grid, or you could actually do a warm-up lap, pit again, go to garage, go out again, do another outlap, park the car on the grid, and then it would go like to formation lap, and you would do formation lap, and you would do race start. And you could say that it's just complete waste of time, but I mean, it's like for like realism or like for immersion, it can be really good, right? It really kills immersion then to have ghosting. Ah, no worries, Jan. RF2 still has that feature. Makes sense, right? They left the files in there, or like the functionalities. So it should be in LMU as well, kind of. It's just maybe difficult to schedule a league with that. Like, there is no deeper point to it. Unless... unless you would make like a rule book that where you would just like have qualifying, and after that there would be zero warm-up. It would go straight to race, but you would have like 4 minutes of warm-up, or 5 minutes, or 10 minutes, in which you could just drive around the track, but not onto the grid. And then if you went through the grid, you would get like immediately disqualified or kicked from the server. And then that would be like a combination of a good race session and like good immersion. Just warm up in the race and then park it on the grid. Have all the animation of personnel, so you would have like 2 FPS on the actual grid, but you would park it there, and after some time the session would move to formation lap. Someone crashed on the installation lap. You know, that's perfect realism, right? And then if the track is wet, you get to feel the wetness of the track like in the actual session right before it goes to formation. Anyway, I wonder what the actual gap to Gumball was in the end. And it's only like 4% of gain on the rating. I mean, it's weekly, it's not special event, right? And probably overall strength of field wasn't too high. But alright. Well. In 2 days, I will be doing 100 laps of Old Monaco with HRSC. Season final. It's quite a random thing to do in such a week where both iRacing and LMU have new content, but gonna be fun. But if you're here mostly for LMU, then I tell you that on Sunday at 7 UTC in the evening, there's gonna be quite a good 2.4 hours of Le Mans race. I think there is gonna be a lot of fast people there. Still need to decide if I want to do LMH or LMDH or GT3. But we will see. Until then, thank you for the likes and subs and the chat. Much appreciated. Was great fun. Yeah, Monaco is gonna be crazy. It's gonna be like 3 hours with that Ferrari with 0 grip and 0 brakes and infinite power. So, well, have a nice evening. See you next time. Bye bye.